Okay, let's do a little training analysis or needs analysis and talk through where I am with my training at the moment. Some of the things issues that I have to address, problems that need to be solved, things that need to be kept doing, things that need to be added in, and maybe teach you a little bit about training and programming in general and how you might approach some of the stuff for your own training. Maybe in the sense of weightlifting, but possibly to a broader context if you're not a weightlifter. So let's break it down: snatch, clean and jerk, and squat or strength even. So we start with the snatch. So I'd recommend watching recent training vlogs, and that will give you some kind of idea, a bit of context on where at the moment. So first thing I need to do for my snatching, and a lot of this is previous experience, knowledge of training, and a good idea of what needs to be done next. So first thing I need to do for my snatch is volume. So volume, I need to do more snatches. That is priority number one for training, is do more snatches, get more snatches done, practice them and see what happens, essentially. So that's the most important thing. I haven't done a lot of snatching the last few months. I need to do a lot of snatching over the next several months to get better at snatching. The goal of any program, essentially, especially strength training or any sport specific activity, is high levels of sport specific activity, and I need to build from the volume I'm doing at the moment, which is very minimal. So we're doing minimal, which when I say minimal, I mean fuck all. So I am doing very little volume. So at the peak of a training block or the highest volume, I might be doing 12 by 2 waves maybe in a high volume setting before, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before, heavier singles, or for the highest volume section of a block, so maybe per session. I might be doing that 3 times a week. So at the moment I'm literally doing minimal sets. To be honest, I wouldn't even record the volume I'm doing at the moment because of the volume they're currently at, or the weight they're currently at, I should say. The volume them is almost meaningless. Now it's a meaningful effect to get back to where I am, but the current volume isn't enough. So that's the first thing I need to address. Second thing I need to start addressing for my snatch is the shoulder rotation. So that's probably the next thing that's probably most important, is my twisting a little bit at the bottom of the heavy weights. So one of the main things I'll do to do with that is more snatching. It's likely a remnant of not doing a lot of snatching in positions, just being slightly unstable. Stability is something you kind of lose with time as strength goes. So that's one of the things that I reckon will fix that. Then I need to address mobility from side to side. There doesn't seem to be a huge issue, but I am seeing a very, very good therapist at the moment to address other issues, and I'm going to question him about that and ask him, see what he thinks. There certainly looks to be a difference in internal and external rotation from side to side, so that is something I need to address. And then there'll be other addresses from that, whatever that ends up being. So I'll probably add in single arm overhead walks, so I find those very useful in the past. If anyone has any comments in my writing, please don't bother. So main thing, volume, more snatches to get better snatching. Shoulder rotation, something definitely needs to be addressed. And then outside of that, it can't all be snatching 5-6 sessions a week. It needs to be, for now, there needs to be a lot more volume. So initially what it'll be, or a lot more variation. So initially at the start, there'll be a lot of variation. Will be kind of at the bottom of this triangle here in terms of specificity. Up here it'd be that kind of 12 by 2 sessions. So that's the top of the triangle. Right now we're very much in the dumps here. We're down the bottom. So we need to be doing a lot of non-specific snatching work, and so how we get kind of our GPP in weightlifting is through variation, and we address specific issues. So a couple of things I need to work on in relation to that shoulder mobility is overhead squat work. So at pretty heavy weights, I need to be looking at, I found low hang snatches from previous experience always does well by me. Not so heavy, going to go pretty moderate with these. So low hangs, no foot snatches from previous experience are very, very, very useful. So again, moderate with these. So overhead squats, reasonably heavy with these in relation to my full snatch, maybe 120 to 130 over the next, maybe say within 6 weeks. So it might be a full snatch followed by an overhead squat. Moderate, so 120 for, let's say, 2 in the near term, and no foot, 120 by 2 as well in the near term. Other variations, I want to start doing a lot more high hang. When I say a lot more, I mean at least once a week for a period of time. So I want to get faster under and pulling more aggressively under the barbell. It's not an issue, but I'd like to exploit it. It's something quite good, and I'd like to get a little bit better at this. So ideally, again, in the near term, it'll be something like 120. So it'll be 120 by 2 probably, but maybe a little bit heavier. It'll probably be like 120, 1 plus 2, maybe at 120. So that's the near term goals for that. Okay, so that's the snatch. So next move on to the clean and jerk. So clean and jerk. Again, no comments on the handwriting, please. So right now, again, at the start, I can probably guess where we're going to go with the clean and jerk. And that is more volume. And this actually won't change. There's not a lot of variation in the clean and jerk in my training, and there doesn't really need to be. But volume, so just lots of sets and reps. While this looked like at peak clean and jerking or clean and jerk sets of reps, this will be heavy double once a week in general. So it'll be 2 plus 2, 2 plus 1, and 1 plus 2. So this will be for the jerk, for the clean, and then some volume. And then eventually it'll be a lot of 1 plus 1 at 90 plus weights, as much as possible for as long as I possibly can until I can hit heavier weights. In the near term, it'll be a lot of no contact work. So the variation will be no contact stuff because I'm slightly over pulling the barbell. But it's a remnant of previous training blocks. It's something that I need to get better at, is pulling under faster, and I have gotten better at it. But the third pull, the second pull, is slightly over pulling. So I want to work on pulling under a little bit faster, less slow down in second pull speed, and not as much tension in my arms. So that's one of the things in previous blocks, just a little bit too much tension in the second pull in my arms. Not an arm bend per se, but too much tension. I'd like to get better at that. So that's for the clean. For the clean, essentially, it's just more volume. I just need to do a lot more clean and jerks. I've done very little this year, even in comparison to my snatch. So I need to increase the volume of those and see what comes about that. Variations of the power or of the clean and jerk that'll come about, in general, will be limited to the power clean for the foreseeable future. For at least 6 weeks, it'll just be power cleans essentially. Well, hopefully I'll get somewhere in the region back to 140-ish for these, depending how these go. And it'll be something probably like 2 plus for 1 for a period of time and 1 plus 2. Now for the jerk in particular, it'll be, you can guess it, lots of jerks. So volume, and that'll be that 1 plus 2 will kind of come into play there. And then I will be doing some amount of push press. Usually my jerk is at its best when my push press is high. So I'll be looking, nothing crazy with this. 120 for maybe a set of 3 in the near term. So in the next 6 weeks, nothing crazy, very, very below. My best is 155 by 3. So there's no major push with that, but there will be some push press frequently in the training. And then strict press is always good for my jerk and my push press and overhead stability. So for that, not too worried. 80 for sets, let's say 80 for 5 as a ballpark. So just frequently pressing as opposed to hitting something very, very heavy. But if it goes well, I'll push it. If not, no big deal. So the clean and jerk, you'll see, is a lot simpler. We're really looking for lots of clean and jerks, heavy, and lots of them. In the near term, it'll be mostly these and very little of this 1 plus 1. The 1 plus 1 will feature in terms of volume. It'll be less than 5%, but I'll be touching heavier weights in relation to my current abilities to see where I'm at. The no contact stuff will be the main, and the power clean will be the main variations, and that will feature maybe twice a week and then once a week realistically, and then the clean jerks probably feature somewhere twice a week. And then the jerk, so lots of volume from the jerks, practice those, probably none from the rack, but if needs be I will do it. Push press, it'll be, moderate weight, very, very, if anything, it's kind of quite lightweight over the next 6 weeks time frame. And then strict press. I am very, very weak at the moment in relation to my max capabilities. Normally when I'm coming for a layoff, I would have been training quite consistently, but due to jiu-jitsu mangling my strength abilities, which is totally fine, the GPP factors from that are very, very beneficial. My strength is very, very low in relation to my abilities. So normally what I would do is just progressively push some 3s at the heavier top sets and get back to like 250 by 3 quite easily. And that's something I've done multiple times and it's not been a huge issue. But for now, I'll need to work on stuff. I'll need to work on volume. I'll have to put effort in. At the moment, we'll be looking at multiple sets and reps, which is not something I've had to do in quite a long time, especially in the back squat. So we'll just put this B back squat. So we're looking at between 5 to 3. Hang on, 5 to 3. So we're looking at 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps. I won't be going heavier because I don't need to, because I have a lot of higher rep stuff and muscular endurance work and GBP work done with jiu-jitsu work, so I don't need the extra muscular endurance from that. So it'll be 3 to 5 sets or 3 to 5 reps until I get to something around within the next 6 to 8 weeks. The moment I literally did 120 at the weekend, so I did 5 by 3. So we'll be looking to get back to 220 for, let's say, a triple, let's say within 8 weeks, but realistically probably 6 weeks. So 6 to 8 weeks. As long as that's going up, it's not a huge issue. Front squat will not be pushed very, very hard. It will be dragged up along with the back squat. So main thing for this is just practice of the front squat is the most important thing. As the back squat goes up, the front squat will go up alongside it. So I just need to practice those positions. It'll be very moderate. It'll be like 3 to 4 sets of 1 to 3 reps for the next 6 weeks at least. Pulling strength, then the last kind of factor will be moderate frequency of snatch pulls. So moderately frequency snatch pulls, we're talking like twice a week in the region of 5 by 3 at similar to working weights. So approx working weights, whatever they may be. Going off the edge of the page. Working weights. Clean pulls then, however, or clean deadlifts I should say. I don't do a lot of clean pulls. So clean deads will feature similar to that, about 5 by 3. And these will be as heavy as barbell speed will allow, as heavy as speed will allow. So as long as they're moving well, I'll keep pushing weights. So realistically, this will be 200 plus, and then hopefully 220 by 2 within 6 weeks. So that's kind of the goal. They're numbers I know that are useful for me. So you'll see the squat and the pull numbers are quite similar. The front squat numbers don't matter massively at the moment. The frequency of those front squat numbers will be increased a lot. The frequency of the front squats towards the latter end of the block. But for the next short term, moderate to short term period in training, it is restoration of strength, restoration of technique, addressing of mobility and technical issues, and then we'll go from there. Hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.